Hi everybody, my name is John Connon. I'm the founder of StrongerChicago.com, a digital platform that makes it easy to find community building organizations and get involved with them. This is the first video in our series on community builders in Chicago, and today I'm here with Kevin Coval. Kevin Coval is a poet and community builder. He is the creative director of Young Chicago Authors. He is the founder of Louder Than a Bomb. He is a professor at the University of Chicago in Illinois. And what do you teach there, Kevin?
I teach at UIC, and I teach a class on hip hop aesthetics, history, and art.
Cool.
Yeah.
And he has also been the mentor of thousands of poets, musicians, and writers, including Chance the Rapper. I recently released a book. What is your book called, Kevin?
It's called The People's History of Chicago.
People's History of Chicago. I love it. Highly recommend it. Excellent collection of poems. So,
Thank you, man.
to get started, we just have a couple of quick questions about how Kevin is building community. The first one, Kevin, is can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and what it's doing to build a stronger city?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're in the home of Young Chicago Authors, which is the nonprofit youth literary organization that I'm the artistic director of, and it's a 26-year-old organization, and we've done a lot of work in the city to kind of take the tools of spoken word, of hip hop poetry, and music, and kind of use it as a way to have young people imagine a different kind of city that they might traverse in a new way. As a kid coming up here, the cultural space was very segregated, as the city remains very segregated, one of the most segregated cities in America. And so we kind of imagine culture having an impact in creating a different kind of city, a different kind of cultural space that ultimately will affect the way that we might maneuver in and around the city. And so our big thing, of course, is we run a youth poetry festival, Louder Than a Bomb, that's going into its 18th year. And I think the way that we see the next 5-10 years of the organization working is that we've created, I think, in this space, and we're in the midst of building out in the first floor right now as well, a larger performance venue so we could house more young people, have more professional developments for teachers and educators, and also do more regular programming that we've built over 25, 26 years in this neighborhood, a kind of micro sanctuary for young people to come in, to be themselves without apology and feel free and hopefully feel safe. And I think the work that we're trying to do over the next 5 to 10 years is begin to basically have more programs in multiple communities where our goal is to create similar, as we're kind of conceiving of them, micro guerrilla sanctuaries for young people, block to block, neighborhood to neighborhood, to have similar spaces to go where they can be themselves, be free, explore who they are, and build in the context of a critically generous and loving creative community.
Yeah, wow. Those are some really ambitious and amazing goals. So you said Louder Than a Bomb's been going on for 18 years. I know I first took a workshop with you around 9 years ago. You've been at this for a long time. It's incredible. Like, what has motivated you to dedicate your life to this?
Well, I love the work. I mean, there isn't, every day I have the best gig, because I get to get up and I get to write and work in my field as a writer. And then, my day is basically building with other young creative people and trying to get them excited about their own ideas and about, sharing bits of their lives and forming ideas for poems, and those poems become a series of poems, and those series of poems become books or performances or albums or theater pieces or critical journalistic pieces, and so I have over a long time I've been able and been privileged to work with a lot of incredibly talented young writers and musicians, and then I also get to do some creative cultural organizing and imagine spaces in a different way and try to build spaces in a different way. I'm always a little depressed and I think angry when I see cultural spaces that aren't reflective of who is actually in the community and who is in the city, and also when the stage or the platform that the event is in or who we're going to see is not also reflective of the multiple voices that exist in the community. And so I think part of my job as a community builder, as a cultural organizer, is to also recreate and reimagine the kinds of cultural opportunities that we have in the city and begin to build the kinds of spaces that I'm excited about and that I feel like the people I'm in community with here are also wanting to see.
Awesome. So I'm wondering, with your passion in this type of space, I've also seen it replicated in a lot of other young authors in Chicago, especially poets and hip hop artists. What is it about spoken word poetry and hip hop that makes these people so critically engaged in the system and wanting them to have a better community and a better city?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that there's probably a lot of reasons. I think one thing that is at the foundation of the aesthetic is in hip hop and the work that we do as writers is we believe in the essential nature of the poetics of place, and in some ways, like one of our first assignments, one of our first prompts, one of the first things we do in a classroom is essentially really just ask young people, where are they from? And once you begin to record the work, the people, the kind of labor, the physical space, the sounds, the colors of the community in which you come from, you begin to kind of take note of some things that maybe without the poetic lens you might miss or take for granted on a daily basis. We're rooted in a very firm tradition of Chicago writers that goes, really our matriarch is Miss Gwendolyn Brooks, who talked about telling the stories that are right in front of your nose. And she said that her material was found in the street. And so if we care about our community, if we care about who we're seeing on a daily basis, if we're recording what we're seeing on our walk to school, then we also become engaged in thinking about, well, why are these things so? Why is there a series of abandoned lots? Why is there a series of red X's on buildings? Why did that Starbucks pop up? Why are working people being pushed out of this community? So once you begin to really record, some of the things that are around you, you begin to gauge, I think, in a larger civic dialogue about what's happening in my neighborhood and what's happening in the city, and are we happy and comfortable with that?
Yeah. So honestly, that kind of stuff really inspires me. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head for why I want to live in this city versus other cities, the type of engagement that you're talking about. So how can other people get involved in the work that you're doing, both at the level of participating in poetry slams, coming to open mics, but then also the kind of community building work?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do stuff on a daily basis, so youngchicagoauthors.org is the website. You can find out more information about the work we do. Every Tuesday night we have the longest running youth open mic in the country here in this space. I mean, we're sitting in the space right now, although hopefully in another month we'll be downstairs in a slightly larger performance venue. And we do a workshop at 6 every Tuesday, an open mic at 7, and so people should come by for that. I mean, I think it'll give you a glimpse as to the kind of cultural space that we're hoping to build, and that we have. It's a glimpse into what we do at Louder Than a Bomb. It's a glimpse into what we do in educational and community center spaces around the city, and it's very vibrant. I would say on a weekly basis, the most vibrant cultural event in the city is here on a Tuesday night. In the middle of October, we resume our Saturday writing program series. So we do a writing class, creative writing class at 1 o'clock. We have a workshop for aspiring MCs and singer-songwriters at 4 o'clock. And then we're about to send a new crop of our teaching artists back into the schools to work in long-term residencies to begin to prepare teams for Louder Than a Bomb. And so this year, Louder Than a Bomb is February, I think, 17th to March 18th. It's our 18th season. We're really excited. We have a concept. Each year we flip the theme, and so we're in a few weeks going to kind of announce the theme and have a lot of exciting things coming up for it. So
cool. And one more question: what advice would you give for someone who's aspiring to be a community organizer, community builder? What should they know before getting started?
Well, I think being a community organizer in Chicago means that you have to show up. You have to be in physical space, proximity with one another and the community, certainly, that you are hoping to work with and serve and bring together. And so, a lot of it is, I think you have to allow yourself to then go into spaces that you might not have been before. Maybe you've been before, and you really have to. It's like like palm to palm. You have to shake people's hand. You have to build relationships. Sometimes one by one with people, with communities, in order to be trusted. And also in order to have a sense of like, what the fuck are you doing there? You know what I mean? Like, you have to, I think, as a good community organizer, really listen to what people are saying. And also, sometimes you have a vision that is broader than where we rest currently. And so you also have to inspire people to believe too in that larger vision that might not be, visible in this moment, but something that we could work towards together. And I think, you know, so in some ways, like, you are both a physical presence, and you're also someone who can inspire, and someone who I think shares in community a vision for, you know, a stronger Chicago.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm Brandon. Much appreciated,
Yeah,
Kevin.
hey, listen.
And that's going to be it for our first episode in this installment. I hope you feel inspired. I know I certainly am. So go out and do something good for your city today. Take care.